Stream. I'm Pugs Moran, here for a Tuesday, back after one day off. Full disclosure, I am a warrior here today. I am an absolute Spartan. I am not experiencing the best of health right now. Hi, Al. Hello, amigo. Nice to see you back. Yeah, I wish I could say it was nice to be back. It is not nice to be back. So for the most of today's show, this is about the extent to which you're going to hear my voice. It may at some point get stronger as the day goes on, but for the most part, this is kind of the level of energy that you're going to be getting because I am sick as shit. I don't know if any of you else are. Actually, I know a number of you are because I've been talking with some of you on Facebook. Allergies, huh? You people like me, you people who are the pollen sensitive. Oh my God, it is like not great. It has been terrible. It's been building for like the last couple of weeks, but it's been manageable. And then this weekend, just everything, oh my God. So we're going to run through everything regardless. Hi, Leslie. We got Jeff, we got Leslie, we got Whitney, we got Joel, we got Byron, we got Al. Come on, everybody. Pull up them beanbag chairs. Form that soul circle of life. Join hands. And let's all pledge to be better people. What do you say? Whitney says my allergies are kicking my butt. Yeah, man. Yeah, they are. And it's funny because it's also trending today. Allergies, seasonal allergies is trending today on a number of platforms. So we have some news on that one. All right, I'll just tell you right now, worst allergy season in 100 years. That's what they're saying. Worst in 100 years. Started earlier and is expected to continue longer. Why? Well, we'll get into that when we talk about the story. But there are reasons. It's funny. My history with allergies is a very bizarre one. What does AMA mean? Adam Reyna says, "Hi, I'm allergy-free AMA." I don't know what. I might know what AMA means, but I'm so hopped up on pills and anti-congestants and all that kind of stuff that I don't know what AMA means right now. Oh, poor Jeff's got a day of food poisoning. Oh man, I had a form of food poisoning on Sunday. A form of food poisoning. Not like normal food poisoning. I ate too many edibles on Sunday night. It got me so freaking high. And I was sick, right? That's why I ate the edibles. I was like, I just need something to feel better. And I did it wrong. So we'll have more on that. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, with all of these like CBDs and Delta 9s and all of these legal things that are now being sold at gas stations, for crying out loud, here in Texas. We need to know how to do these things. We need to understand edibles because I'll tell you, I thought I understood edibles. On Sunday, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to eat the whole chocolate bar. Yeah. I think you're only supposed to have one dose. Like a chocolate bar comes in like, it's like 16 squares. And like each square is a dose. I ate the whole chocolate bar on Sunday night. Only because in my history of edibles, they don't work. They don't work on me. And as it turns out, they do work on me. They just take a really long time to work on me. And then when they work on me, it's awful. It was so bad. I was so sick. My allergies are bad. I can't breathe. My nose is running. My eyes are tearing up. I'm coughing. I can't sleep anyway. And now I've overdosed on edibles. So now I'm super anxious and I got flop sweats and I'm twitchy. And oh my God, it was the worst. Oh my God. Adam says, dude, I got some distillate edible Sunday and I was blitzed. Yeah. Al Gamboa, they have legal edibles? Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they sure do. This is something at some point we're going to have to talk about because nobody knows about it. But there was a law that was passed back in 2018 by President Trump that basically made weed legal federally, but nobody mentioned it. And now there are certain entrepreneurs who are taking advantage of this law that was quietly signed in 2018. And yeah, you can walk into a gas station in Texas and you can buy some weed that is going to blow your mind. And it's real. It's hemp derivative, and there's all of these crazy little things about it. But man, I'll tell you, I don't know. It's the Wild West out there. And because it's the Wild West out there, people got to know, man. People got to know that just because you buy a candy bar that's an edible, you can't eat the whole candy bar. That candy bar, there's a reason that candy bar costs $50. It's supposed to last you weeks, you know? It's not supposed to just... well, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right now. Perfectly legal in Texas, but it does convert to THC in your body. No, it's not entirely true. That's not where it happens. Trust me, we've got a new side business. I don't know if you've heard about us with E and his thing, but we've actually been doing a lot of research into this. It's apparently Adam's kind of right. It's illegal until you light it. The minute you light it in the privacy of your own home, that's when you engage the THC. That's when the THC begins to, create its chemical reaction, and you smoke it and you get high. But it's totally legal to sell. It's totally legal to possess. It's just the minute you light it up, you're technically breaking the law. And how do they enforce that? Right? How do they going to start kicking in your doors? I don't know. I don't get it. Okay. So there's a whole conversation to be had about that. Delta 8, Delta 9, THC, THCO, all of these things. It's very complicated. And there's a whole bunch of legal loopholes that make a whole lot of this stuff perfectly legal. We just discovered this over the last couple of weeks. James Parker, I'll give you an example. James Parker was driving in on Friday of last week. We all went out to the Old 75 for a day-long freak broadcast. We had a good time. A lot of friends were out there. We had a really nice time. James Parker vapes. James Parker drove in from Tyler, stopped at a gas station, bought a vape, and was just vaping on it all day. And I was vaping on it, and everybody was vaping on it because it was weed. It was basically just weed, and it was completely legal. And he bought it at We'll have more on this. As I become more and more. I'm kind of getting ankle deep in this business, so we'll have more. But anyway, I did the edibles wrong. I got a whole bunch of this stuff, as like samples. Here, try this. Thought you would think of that. Don't eat the whole candy bar. Joel says, my wife and I now smoke THCA, which we can get at a vape shop down the road, basically indistinguishable from the real thing. You are absolutely 100% right. THCA is legal, and it's weed because it falls into a loophole in the 2018 hemp bill, which was passed at the federal level. So in America, you can go into a store and you can buy a vape with THCA and get fucking blazed. It's not bad weed. It's not like, oh, you're getting worse weed. No, you're not. You're getting weed that's every bit as good as the stuff that you bought from that guy. The stuff that James Parker just bought at a gas station in Texas and then brought out to the Old 75. That was real weed. I'm not a weed virgin, okay? I know what good weed is. I know what one-hit weed is, and that was one-hit weed. And he bought it at a gas station because of a federal loophole that makes it legal. It's crazy. It's very strange. All right, let's get into today's show. Anyway, that was Sunday night. Oh, my God, I ate too much chocolate. I don't like edibles. I just do not like them. They take way too long to work for me. It was 4 hours. 4 hours had passed before I went, holy crap, am I high? I don't know. I didn't really like it. It didn't help my situation. I was already sick and not feeling great. It didn't help my situation. It made it so much worse. And I was still like super edible overdose high yesterday. At this time yesterday. It was like one of the reasons why I didn't do the show, because I've never done radio high. I've done a podcast high, but that was different. But I've never. I consider this, I guess, some form of radio. I don't know. Maybe it's. Maybe in some way I'm just an old head, and there's some degree of professionalism that I still see in this. Not just people with microphones in their basement. There was a time when radio meant something. You had to work. You had to pay your dues. There was a professionalism to it. Anyway. That was yesterday. That was bad. All right, welcome in. Adam Reyna says, I did a legal dab on Thursday for 420 at the grand opening of the weed store in Denton. I didn't have to smoke anything the rest of the night, and I still got third place in Mario Kart tournament. All right, see, now this is important that Adam Reyna is saying this stuff, because Adam Reyna is the show's official contrarian. He thrives on taking alternate positions to positions that others have taken. He likes to argue. And he's not wrong. He just has different ways of looking at things, and through his lens, it makes sense. So for Adam Reyna to be agreeing with me when I say this is really all the endorsement that you people need. Because if this was bad weed, Adam Reyna would be like, "That shit, wait." I mean, he would be the first to tell you. So that's actually quite a good endorsement there from Adam Reyna. Michael says, don't know if this was mentioned, but the Toadies have issued a special edition Delta 9 edible. Of course they have. Okay. Now that's a reason to call Vaden. Because, I used to drink the Toadies beer. They sold Toadies beer. What was it called? I don't know what it was called. I don't know. I found it at a bar in Chicago. I was at some bar in Chicago, and I was drinking it, and I was like, this is awesome. Good for them. Michael says, don't know if this was mentioned, but the Toadies have issued a special edition Delta 9 edible. Okay. Well, there you have it. Edibles, but just be careful with them. And understand that it ain't like smoking weed. Like when you smoke weed, if you take a hit, if it's good weed, you should feel it almost instantly. Instantly. It's, inhale, exhale, okay, I feel it. That ain't what happens with edibles. With edibles, you eat one, and then you're like, okay, I did the recommended dose. That's just the one. And then 45 minutes later, you're like, I still don't feel anything. I'm just going to eat one more. Maybe that'll jumpstart. And then 45 minutes later, you're like, I still don't feel anything. I don't know why this isn't working. So you eat another one. And then, 2 hours into it, you're like, edibles suck. Meanwhile, 3 hours into it, you're like, okay, here we go. Now the ride begins. At least that's my experience. Maybe it depends on one's metabolism. I don't know. But it's been my experience that it just takes forever. Box Slider, is that what the Toadies beer was called? It was good. Yeah. All right. Now, there he goes. There's Adam Reyna, the contrarian. I still prefer the real deal. It's way cheaper. Well, this is the real deal. See, that's the thing. It is the real deal. It's the real deal, at least as far as, years prior, there were all these synthetics, which were not normal. They didn't grow out of the ground. They were synthetics. And, I guess, K9, I think, was one. Those are the ones that I said, those aren't real. This is real weed. Now, the high might depend on, the strain, but that happens with regular illegal weed too. It depends on the strain. It depends on, what you're looking for. April says it only takes her an hour for most edibles. Yeah, I wish that was the case for me. I had eaten the entire chocolate bar at like 6 o'clock at night, and I'd totally forgotten about it because I wasn't feeling well. And I was just laying there in bed watching TV. I was already all gooped up on GOP from the cold medications. And then, remember, I took it at 6 o'clock. And then at 10 o'clock, I got up because I wanted to take a hot shower. And I couldn't stand. I couldn't stand up. I was like, okay, here we go. All right, it happened. And that was 4 hours later. All right, let's get into what today is. High noon. I've put together a show for you. I am really lacking the energy, my brothers and sisters. So I'm going to rip through these. We're going to get through this show. I can't promise you'll go in 2 hours. I certainly can't promise we're going to go extra, but we're going to give you a full-on show to the best of my ability. So help a brother out and be a little patient today. I know you will. You always do. You're some of the best people I know. All right, let's get into what High Noon is. High Noon is a daily rundown of all the trending topics, hot topics, current events, whatever it is that people are buzzing about. I try and give it to you in a nice little rundown. I'm thinking about making some changes. The show itself is going to go through some changes. Don't know how often it's going to air as it becomes more and more difficult to do this financially. So we may scale back a little bit. But one of the things that I think I want to institute is a countdown. I think I want to do like a 10 to 1 or something. Currently, when I put the show together, I aim for 12. I aim for 12 stories. I aim for like a top 10, like the top 10 things that people are talking about, and then a couple of extra. Usually they're like fun ones. And I designate them as such as I'm putting the flow together. But before we do that, before we get into all the trending topics of today, what we like to do is go into erstwhile on this day. That is a look back on all the events that have shaped previous editions of this particular day. We go through some of the events, we talk about people who were born, and then we mourn some of the passings of those we have lost on this very day. So, without further ado, let's get started. High noon is the time. It is 4:25:23. That is the 25th day of April, year of our Lord, 2023, 115th day in the year, 250 days remaining until the end of the year. So get those New Year's Eve plans started. Guys, I am already winded. I already just want to go lay in bed. We'll get started. We'll get through this. Trust me. I'm so sorry. Byron says it may be wasteful, but I love taking edibles before bed. The 3 a.m. P trip is fun. Byron's another 3 a.m. pisser. That's all right. That's all right. That's fine. That's fine. Just don't be a sink pisser. You know, there's a lot of dudes, especially, young men. They won't make it all the way to the bathroom. They'll piss in the sink. I don't think Byron's a sink pisser, although Byron might be a sink pisser. Byron, you know what? If it was like a question for $1 million, has Byron ever pissed in the sink? I'm going to say, yeah, absolutely. Multiple times. But it's nice that he admits that he's a 3 a.m. pisser. Because we were talking about that on the nighttime show, Pugs and Parker with E. E and I understand the 3 a.m. piss game. James doesn't. James doesn't get it yet. James is sleeping through the night. Good for him. Couple of years off, he'll be pissing at 3 a.m. On this day, in 799, after mistreatment and disfigurement by the citizens of Rome, Pope Leo II, he was the third, not to be confused. Pope Leo III flees to the Frankish court of King Charlemagne for protection. Now, this is a big deal. Why did I mention this? 799, it seems silly, because this is the start of the Holy Roman Empire. This was the mood, if you're unfamiliar with Charlemagne, 800, that's when he lived, like somewhere around then. Charlemagne was, he was important. All I can say is that Charlemagne was incredibly important. Probably the greatest French leader of all time. He was, of course, the Carolingian dynasty, which would go on to rule almost all of Europe for hundreds and hundreds of years after the passing of Charlemagne himself. But this moment, why is this important? Because Charlemagne was starting his Western expansionism into Europe, and Europe was pretty much run. Sure, there were a bunch of kings, but the Pope, because Europe was mostly Christian at this point, the Pope was kind of a little bit more important than all the kings. Kind of, right? But there was a challenge to the papacy. And another pope was trying to become pope, and that pope had a whole bunch of people who were other kings, like Belgium and shit like that, back in his play. So Pope Leo, he was like, hey, get the fuck out of here. So Pope Leo got the hell out of Rome and ran to Charlemagne, where Charlemagne gave him protection and called him the true pope. And then, because he was the one true pope, this is the most important thing that Charlemagne ever did. Charlemagne had the pope, who was under his protection, Pope Leo III, crown him the Holy Roman Empire, Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. That was a big deal. It was a big deal in the history of the world. And that was the play. So Charlemagne was like, dude, I will give you protection, but you got to very publicly call me the King of Kings. You got to very publicly make me the boss of all the bosses. And they did. And it worked out well for Charlemagne. On this day in 1846, something they call the Thornton Affair, open conflict begins over the disputed border of Texas, triggering the Mexican-American War. There you go. On this day in 1862, during the American Civil War, forces under U.S. Admiral David Farragut demand the surrender of the Confederates in the city of New Orleans. On this day in 1959, the St. Lawrence Seaway, linking the North American Great Lakes and the Atlantic Ocean, officially opens to shipping. That's a big deal. That's a big deal because now you can, because of the St. Lawrence Seaway, if you've got product in New York, You don't have to go, you don't like have to hug America. You have to go all the way around Florida and the Gulf and then you got to get Panama Canal? How are you going to get to Los Angeles if you're shipping something from New York to Los Angeles via boat? You can't. St. Lawrence Seaway made that possible. Now you can cut right through the middle, cut right through the Great Lakes, get you right there in the middle of the country, and then, you could take rivers, all that kind of stuff. Actually, I don't know how that works from that point, but whatever. It was a big deal. It was a big deal. Maybe getting from New York to Los Angeles was the bad example, but certainly it helped Chicago get stuff from New York. That was quick because we just come up through the Great Lakes. On this day in 2007, Boris Yeltsin's funeral. It was the first to be sanctioned by the Russian Orthodox Church for a head of state since the funeral of Emperor Alexander III way back in 1894. 2014 on this day, the Flint water crisis begins when officials at Flint, Michigan switched the city's water supply to the Flint River, leading to lead and bacteria contamination. Good thing we fixed that, right? We didn't fix that. That's not fixed. We just all moved on. When people were like, oh, that's so sad for the poor people of Flint. Huh? And then that's not fixed. They still got shit water. It's still America. It's basically like Bangladesh there in Flint. All right, let's do some birthdays. Born on this day in 1599, Oliver Cromwell. He was an English general and politician, Lord Protector of Great Britain during the period of time when they didn't have a king. He was a troublemaker. War of the Roses, right? He was involved in that. The Yorks and the Lancasters. It's a British history. He was a big troublemaker, Oliver Cromwell. 1908, Edward R. Murrow was born. Edward R. Murrow, American journalist. He was a big deal. The Edward R. Murrow Award is still given to. He was real. He was a legit tentpole of what American journalism was supposed to be. He was terrific. Edward R. Murrow. Born on this day in 1908. Born on this day in 1923, Albert King, African-American singer, songwriter, guitarist, producer, bluesman. I always get Albert King confused with Albert Collins. Like in the movie Adventures in Babysitting, nobody gets out of here without playing the blues when they were in the blues club. Like I always think that's Albert King. Well, it wasn't. It was Albert Collins. But Albert King's birthday is today, so happy birthday. Born on this day in 1930, Paul Mazursky, American actor, director, and screenwriter. He did a whole bunch of stuff. Paul Mazursky is mostly famous for being like Mel Brooks' best friend. Yeah, it was like always whenever you'd see Mel Brooks having a sandwich at a diner, he was always eating with Paul Mazursky. Not that you would see Mel Brooks on, but you know what I'm saying? Like, any kind of like interview that Mel Brooks did, he was always sitting there hanging out with Paul Mazursky. Born on this day in 1932, Meadowlark Lemon, African-American basketball player and minister. He died in 2015. Meadowlark Lemon was, for my generation of child, he was Mr. Harlem Globetrotter. He was the leader of the Harlem Globetrotters. Meadowlark, he had Curly Neal, he had Goose Goslin. These are my Globetrotters. Meadowlark Lemon, Goose Goslin, Curly Neal, Babyface Page. Somebody else. They threw somebody else in there. Anyway, I used to love the Harlem Globetrotters. Born on this day in 1932. The real leader of the Globetrotters, in my opinion, the great Meadowlark Lemon. Born on this day in 1940, Al Pacino, American actor and director. All right, everybody say it with me. Al Pacino draft. Yeah. Low energy. It's a low energy Al Pacino draft. It's too bad. Al Pacino deserves more than this low energy Al Pacino draft. I do apologize. I am very under the weather at the moment. All right, Al Pacino draft, man. I got to tell you, I can muster up a little bit of energy for this one because this is a huge one. We like to take the body of work, the filmography, if you will, of great actors, great performers, and we try and frame them inside an NFL draft type format. So the first pick is the first pick overall. That's going to be the first pick off the board. That's the most important one. So without further ado, I said ado twice now in this show. Let's go to the Al Pacino draft. Born on this day in 1940, the first pick in the Al Pacino draft. This is easy. Scarface. It's Scarface. I say it's easy because I didn't think it was gonna be easy, but then when I actually looked, I was like, yeah, that's his role, that's his most. Because I wanted to say, he did The Godfather and all these other things. And I'm like, but those were ensembles. Scarface, he just carried Scarface. You can't name another person in Scarface. It was Gina Davis, maybe. Wait, was it Gina Davis? Was that Gina Davis? I don't know. No, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. But even her, I think she's Gina Davis. So it's Al Pacino's movie. Scarface, number 1 off the board. Number 2 off the board, Godfather. Yeah, despite it being an ensemble, Michael Corleone still is the number 2 pick off the board in the Al Pacino draft. Number 3 off the board, Dog Day Afternoon. That's right, Dog Day Afternoon, the story of the bank heist. True story. A bunch of dudes robbed a bank in Brooklyn in broad daylight. Turned into a hostage standoff. Oh, it was so good. Al Pacino, John Cazale. Oh, John Cazale was so great. Dog Day Afternoon comes in number 3 in the Al Pacino draft. Number 4 in the Al Pacino draft. One of the biggest movies of the time that really was a cultural phenomenon. Ladies and gentlemen, Serpico. That's right, another true story. Al Pacino portraying Frank Serpico, the New York City police officer who uncovered all the corruption and all of the guys on the take in the department and became a pariah and a target and all that stuff. Serpico, the number 4 movie off the board here in the Al Pacino draft. Excuse me. Hold on. Number 5 off the board in the Al Pacino draft, Heat. We're going with Heat. I just love Heat so much. I love everything about that movie. And I know it's Pacino, and I know it's De Niro, but also that adds to it. That's pretty good. Heat's pretty great. There you go. There's your top 5. Scarface, Godfather, Dog Day Afternoon, Serpico, and Heat. That concludes the 5-round Al Pacino draft. Let's invite some people to camp, because you better believe that Al Pacino's got a filmography that demands a couple of looks this summer. So first, getting an invite to camp, we're going to bring in Panic in Needle Park. That's right, the movie that got Michael Corleone the gig. The movie that got him the role as Michael Corleone. Jack Nicholson was supposed to originally play Michael Corleone, but there were some scheduling conflicts, and they needed somebody at the last minute. And Francis Ford Coppola had seen Panic in Needle Park and went, "That's my Michael." Also getting a camp invite, Godfather 2. Godfather 2 gets a camp invite. Camp invite coming out for And Justice for All. That was a crazy movie about the legal system. If you've never seen And Justice for All, that's a great movie. Cruising is going to get a camp invite just because I want to take a look and see what this thing's all about. Cruising was weird. Cruising was a movie made in 1980 starring Al Pacino, a straight actor who played I don't know if he played gay. He played a New York undercover cop going into the gay underground scene in New York. Cruising. Woo! You want to talk about controversial for 1980. Good movie, though. Sea of Love. I love Sea of Love. Sea of Love is a good movie. It's him and Ellen Barkin, right? Remember Ellen Barkin? Ellen Barkin, Al Pacino, Sea of Love. How about Dick Tracy? Dick Tracy's going to get a camp invite. Godfather 3. Yeah, Godfather 3, especially the Coda version, the remastered one that was released just last year or something. Godfather 3 Coda with Francis Ford Coppola adding extra stuff and redoing the order of how it plays out so that it's more of a story in real time. Oh, Coda is so good. Godfather 3 has been saved. If you haven't seen it, now you need to see it. You just got to make sure you see Godfather 3 Coda, which is the same movie as Godfather 3, just re-edited by Francis Ford Coppola years later after he, decided, I'm just going to make it the way I wanted to make it originally. Also getting a camp invite, Donnie Brasco. Donnie Brasco is so good. Johnny Depp, Al Pacino, Donnie Brasco, another true story. Devil's Advocate is going to get a camp invite. The Insider is getting a camp invite. Any Given Sunday is given a camp invite. And the movie that I just recently saw and love, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, gets a camp invite. That concludes our Al Pacino draft. I feel so bad for Al Pacino. He deserves so much better than this. Scent of a Woman. Yeah, I don't know. Ooh, Scent of a Woman. All right, we'll put Scent of a Woman. I guess. You know what? Thank you. Jeff Ballard doing some out-of-system scouting and has decided that it'd be a good look for us to take Scent of a Woman. Scent of a Woman's coming to camp. There you go. Thank you, Jeff. That was very good. Insomnia, I didn't see it. I didn't see Insomnia. All right, born on this day in 1946. Boy, we just can't get away from Francis Ford Coppola. Is that who she is? She's a Coppola, right? Born on this day in 1946, Talia Shire. Talia Shire. She played Yo Adrian. Hey, Rocky. She was also in Godfather and stuff like that. She's basically, she's an actress, and she was the sister of one of the best directors of the 1970s. So she was in a lot of big movies in the 1970s. That's Talia Shire for you. Most famously for playing Adrian Balboa in the Rocky movies. Can I just say something about the character of Adrian Balboa and why the Rocky movies just got so stupid? Why the original Rocky movie was so great and the rest of them were so stupid? Because in the original Rocky movie, can we be honest about this? Adrian is retarded. She's a retarded woman. She is a grown woman with special needs. I don't know that I don't know the exact diagnosis. But Rocky falls in love with certainly the slow. I mean, she is slow. She's a grown-ass woman, and there's something wrong with Adrian in the first Rocky movie. She's not, but then by the time they get to 3, Adrian's like a Hollywood socialite. I'm like, that doesn't work like that. She's like, that's not how she would evolve. She would not evolve like that. First of all, he would divorce her. Rocky, after winning the championship, is going to divorce her. He should be dating Susan Anton. Or, somebody like, he's not going to be pulling around some girl who works at a pet store who mumbles to herself. That's always been my take on Adrian. I don't understand how they cured her severe autism or whatever it was that she had, because she certainly played the original character in the 1977 Rocky movie as a woman who had struggles and challenges. Born on this day in 1964, Hank Azaria, the great Hank Azaria. I love Hank Azaria. Hank Azaria is so funny. He does all the cool voices on The Simpsons. I mean, there's a lot of people who do cool voices on The Simpsons, but Hank Azaria does a lot of them. What else does Hank Azaria do? Brockemeyer. If you're a baseball dork like myself, you probably like the show Brockemeyer. It's a smart situation comedy made exclusively for baseball fans, because that joke is nothing but inside baseball jokes. It's a good show though. I love it. I love the character. Happy birthday to you, Hank Azaria. Born on this day in 1964, umbilical cousins with Hank Azaria. How about some Andy Bell? Andy Bell, British synth musician. Andy Bell is the singer of Erasure. Erasure was Andy Bell and Vince Clarke from Depeche Mode. And I really liked Erasure. I don't know what I was thinking, man, seriously, because I listen back to Erasure now, and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? This is some of the most simplistic. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I'll give you an example of Erasure. I hadn't listened to Erasure in about 25, 30 years. And I was on a road trip with my son's mother. And she was much younger than me. So she didn't have any familiarity with Erasure. So we're driving in the car, and I'm going through this. We still had CDs in the car at the time. We're going through the car, and I'm pulling out CDs that I haven't listened to in a long time, and I pop in Erasure, right? And I'm excited. I'm like, oh, God, man, I haven't listened to this in a while. And I pop in this Erasure CD, and it just starts with the... Just like weird, like synth tech thing. And I'm driving, and I'm just listening to it, and I'm looking over at my different generation wife, and she is looking at me like, when did you become a gay man in the 1980s? You know what I mean? I was like, oh, you know what? This really isn't good, is it? She's like, this is terrible. And I go, this is terrible. And I just ejected it, and I remember I throw the CD out the window. I'm going to try and listen to Erasure again. You know what? I'll try and do it. I'll try My Son. That's an interesting one. That is an interesting one with no bias and no garbage. I'm going to let my 13-year-old son, whose musical taste I really have high regard for, because I have sculpted it since he was a baby. I've sculpted it since he was listening to Johnny Cash and Bruce Springsteen in utero. You know what? There was Sinatra, Marvin Gaye, Johnny Cash, and Bruce Springsteen on a constant loop when he was inside his mom's belly. So he has good musical tastes, dating all the way back to In Utero. But yeah, I'll let him listen to some Erasure, and I won't like, I'll just be like, hey man, I want you to hear something. I want you to tell me your honest opinion. And if I do it like that, then he'll give me his honest opinion. Erasure. Happy birthday, Andy Bell. You made me happy at one point in my life. Born on this day in 1969. How about a big happy hearty birthday to Joe Buck, American sportscaster. Boy, oh boy, isn't that some programming, huh? Oh yeah. Oh boy, Joe Buck calls a game, which is every night of the goddamn year. Joe Buck calls a game. Joe Buck's going to start trending because everybody hates Joe Buck. Joe Buck, Hitler, Osama bin Laden, those are like the most hated people in the world. What the fuck do people hate Joe Buck for? Joe Buck is awesome. Joe Buck does a really, really good job. Joe Buck is also, in every single interview I've ever heard this guy in for 30 years, has seemed like a really awesome guy. Nice, kind, generous, thoughtful, all of those things. Yet Joe Buck sucks. Oh, piss off. Joe Buck is great. Actually, I don't even know if Joe Buck is great. What I know is he doesn't suck. He doesn't suck. He's everywhere. He seems like a good guy. You idiots are all programmed. I hate Joe Buck. You guys are idiots. You just heard that somewhere. Like Creed. I bet you hate Creed, too. Name a song. I can't name a song because I hate him. Well, that makes no sense, stupid. That makes no sense. I hate him because I can't name a song. Hate Creed, you hate Nickelback too, you hate Joe Buck. You think Die Hard is a Christmas party or a Christmas movie. You know, all of the really fucking stupid shit that we just say because we hear other fucking stupid people say it and we go, that sounds like it'll make me interesting if I say it. Yeah, I threw in Die Hard as a Christmas movie because I hate that argument. It is not a Christmas movie. It is a movie set at Christmas time, but you fucking disingenuous fools, stop it. It is not a Christmas movie. Miracle on 34th Street is a Christmas movie. Die Hard is a movie about a terror siege that occurs at Christmas time. It's not a Christmas movie. Now I'm all upset. Jason, I'm sick, so I'm a little bit crankier. So I might give you some full power rants here today. But that also might mean that the show only goes 40 minutes because I'm getting tired. Happy birthday, born on this day in 1970, Jason Lee. I don't know who Jason Lee is. Jason Lee's a skateboarder. Okay, Jason Lee's a skateboarder. He was kind of funny in a couple of shows. Like, he's an actor, a skateboarder turned actor. Apparently he lives in Denton. I don't even know. Is he famous still? Does he still act? I don't know. Happy birthday, Jason Lee. Born on this day in 1970, whatever. Born on this day in 1976, Tim Duncan. I like Tim Duncan. He of the sad eyes. Yeah, Tim Duncan always looked very sad. Tim Duncan, basketball player. Great basketball player. One of the greats of my generation. Born on this day in 1976. Byron says he likes Joe Buck because he does funny interviews. He does really funny interviews. He's funny. He's a funny, nice guy. I don't know why people hate him. Because they're trying to be interesting, that's why. If I take a guy that doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with him, and I start screaming that I can't stand him, people are going to think I'm interesting. They're going to want to know what I see that's wrong with him that nobody else does. That's what it is. That's what it is. Byron says Jason Lee is awesome. My Name is Earl. All the Kevin Smith. Yeah. I never saw My Name is Earl. Is he awesome? Okay. All right. Hey, look, I seem to remember him being Mallrats, right? Wasn't he kind of funny in Mallrats? I seem to think he was kind of funny in that. But I don't know. He's a skateboarder. I reject his talent. I reject accepting him as an actor because he came from... That's unfair. How about some deaths? Let's talk about some people who passed away on this day. Dead on this day in 1982, John Cody. Now, I mentioned him because he was Cardinal John Cody of Chicago. There are only a couple American cities that have cardinals in them, and they're cities with like large, dense Catholic populations. Chicago, Boston, New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Philadelphia. You know, I'm trying to think of what cities have cardinals, because not all cities have cardinals. Some cities aren't important enough to the Catholics to have cardinals. Some cities just have archbishops. Like Dallas. Dallas just has an archbishop. There's no cardinal of Dallas. And the reason I make this up, I mentioned this, is because having a cardinal in your city is weird. Because it's like having a magic king that, you know, clogs traffic whenever he tries to drive somewhere. I'll give you an example. I couldn't leave my work. I was working in the John Hancock building. I couldn't leave work for like 15 minutes because Cardinal Bernardine, who was the Cardinal of Chicago at the time, I couldn't leave work for like 15 minutes because Cardinal Bernardine was in the lobby and his like insane Secret Service protection had This is the leader of a church in a major American city, driving around in a limousine with flags on it, Vatican flags and stuff. It's just a very weird thing. It's like having a magic king that lives in your city that, some people think is real important and other people are like, why do we have a magic king? I was like, why do we have a magic king in this city? I don't get it. I don't understand why I can't walk to the parking garage to go home after a day's work because this guy is touring the lobby of the building that I'm in? He's a freaking 70-year-old in a dress. He's magic. What are we playing this game for? All right. Anyway, on this day in 1982, Chicago lost their Cardinal. I remember Cardinal Cody. My grandma used to talk about Cardinal Cody. I don't know why. I don't know why he was like a rock star in our house. Because she was an old Catholic lady. And that's what these magic kings are to old Catholic ladies. They're like rock stars. Dead on this day in 2002, Lisa Lopez. That's right, Left Eye. Left Eye left this plane of existence on this day in 2002. Car accident in the Dominican, I want to say. Left Eye, man. I like Left Eye. Remember when Left Eye burned down Andre Risen's Atlanta mansion? That was awesome. Lisa Left Eye Lopez from TLC. The L in TLC, I believe. Would stand to reason. She was dating Atlanta Falcons wide receiver Andre Rison. And Bad Moon, as his nickname was. Andre Bad Moon Rison. Andre Rison was dating Lisa Left Eye Lopez, and she thought that he was cheating on her. So she went to his mansion, and she filled up his giant sunken tub with all of his gym shoes, because apparently he was a sneakerhead. And she lit him on fire in the bathtub. And it burned the entire, $10 million mansion to the ground. Oops. Hey, Left Eye, you're going to need some ventilation. You can't that's all very highly flammable stuff. Those are polyurethanes and rubbers, and that's going to burn out of control, young lady. Anyway, Lisa Left Eye died on this day in a terrible car accident in the Dominican. Dead on this day in 2009, B. Arthur. Oh, that's a handsome woman. It's the term handsome woman seems to have been created for the likes of B. Arthur. She's a big lady. She was Maude. She was funny on Maude. She was basically given a career by Norman Lear, and she ran with it. Golden Girls, of course, Maude and the Golden Girls, All in the Family. She was a regular on All in the Family. B. Arthur, dead on this day in 2009. Dead on this day in 2019, John Hondo Havlicek, a guy who many racists consider one of the great basketball players of all time. I'm sure there are some non-racists who think John Havlicek is one of the greatest. I've seen lists where Hondo Havlicek is in the top 10 greatest basketball players of all time. Have you ever seen him play? I mean, sure, he won, I think, 8 titles with the Boston Celtics, played his entire career with the Celtics back when it was just John Havlicek and a whole bunch of people who looked like John Havlicek, and then Bill Russell. That was it. It was like a bunch of white guys in a community pickup league, and then Bill freaking Russell just standing there going, "Just give me the ball." But yeah, some people think Hondo was good. Hondo was a good basketball player for 1952. I mean, granny shots and whatnot. I don't know what he played like. I just don't think. So it was his birthday today, and I clicked on his birthday thing, and the first line was, widely considered by experts to be one of the 10 greatest players in NBA history. And I'm like, get the fuck, you're out of your mind. John Hondo Havlicek, one of the 10 greatest? So we're gonna go through. So is he better than Russell? Because I got Bill Russell at 7 or 8 on my list. So where do you put? I don't know. He ain't one of the 10 greatest basketball players of all time. He might be one of the 100. Yeah, I'd give him, okay. That's a conversation we can have. But don't even give me 20. John Havlicek's not one of the 20 greatest basketball players of all time. There are players there are sixth men in the NBA now who I think are probably better basketball players than John Hondo Havlicek. Born in 1940, dead on this day in 2019, Hondo Havlicek. I also pushed back on that Pistol Pete Maravich. Okay, so he was the original Steve Kerr, right? So he's just a guy launching threes back before threes were even worth three. Seems like a waste, but okay. Seems like a guy that was maybe afraid to drive the lane. It was just putting up granny shots from half court. Sure, that'll make... Anyway... Yes, I got a problem with almost any basketball that was played before Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were drafted into the league. I think with a couple of exceptions, basketball before that point was really just, and I say a couple of exceptions. I mean, we're accommodating the Dr. J's and the Wilts and the Kareems and the Bill Russells, but still, that's just my hot take on the NBA. All right, that'll do it. That is the conclusion of Erstwhile on April the 25th. So we're going to get into the topics that are actually trending today, and I am not feeling great. I am sorry. So we're going to try and run through these. Also, tip the show. Yeah, we got to mention that. We're coming up towards the end of the month, and, there's definitely some financial issues as far as keeping the show going, so anything you can do, tip it, Venmo, Cash App, all that good stuff. Venmo, Cash App, drop a little something, sure would be appreciative. Thank you so much. Let's get into all of the things that are trending today. All right, first and foremost, here you go. Apparently, President Biden is running for president again. All right, good for him. Joe Biden's going to... Did he announce? It's so not... I mean, I guess it's trending number one when the sitting president finally decides he's going to run, but aren't we all just like, oh, great. Yeah, right. So which diaper wearer are we... Which adult diaper wearer are we going to put in the Oval Office this time? Huh? Because that's pretty much what we're looking at again. I don't have any hatred towards Joe Biden. I really don't. I think he seems like a nice dude. I think he seems like a good person. I think a lot of you fuckers are just really twisted with some of the shit that you say about him. I don't see it. So, but it doesn't fit my narrative, so I'm not going to be looking for things that do conveniently fit my anti-Biden narrative. I don't have a Biden narrative. He's just a dude, man. I didn't want him. I didn't want him. But we got him, and he's there. I don't want him again. I don't know. I don't want him again. I want to change, man. I want to complete... I am so wide open. I am so wide open this time around. Sitting here in the middle, I'm going to look at everybody. Everybody but RFK Jr. That whack job. That whack job is so far left, he's right. He's gone so far left that he's actually now coming back to the crazy on the right. He has gone from Kennedy moderate to left leaning to all the way. I don't even know why I'm talking about RFK Jr. He's not a player in this. He's a joke. Again, he's running for president so he can collect a war chest and then become the CEO of that war chest's political action committee, which will inevitably spring up once he drops out of the race. And then he has a whole bunch of money to spend any way he wants. Cars, mortgages, whatever. He can pay himself what he wants because that's what running for president's all about. I'm not feeling great. I feel like I got to puke. I'm sick. I know. So, yeah. So I'm going to have to... We'll take a break. We'll be right back. All right. So, so here's what happens. I take these pills that drain me out, and from the allergies, they drain me out. And over the course of time, what happens is all of the stuff that drains ends up in my stomach. And even though I haven't eaten anything all day today, my stomach starts to get sick because it's all kinds of drainage, for lack of a more grotesque word. And from time to time with these pills, I just suddenly have to puke. And that's just what happens. So I apologize. Brush my teeth. Do a little this. Can I just point something out to us, folks? We look, I'm not the first person to say this. This is not something that is going to be like, wow, I've never heard that said before. We human beings do not deserve dogs. We don't deserve dogs, man. We don't. They are just natively, infinitely better as creatures, as sentient. You know what I mean? As creatures, they are just better than humanity. This stupid dog was sound asleep in her corner, as she usually does, in the other room. I get up and I start retching. The toilet. This dog, like, immediately springs to action, runs into the bathroom, and she doesn't like the bathroom. She doesn't like going in the bathroom because it's small, and occasionally she has been trapped in there when people have been, so she does not like to come into the bathroom. This dog came running right into the bathroom. She slid right into the bathroom. I'm bent over the toilet, retching, and all she wanted to do was put her head, she's trying to slide her head on my lap. Oh, it was so cute. It was just like, it's okay, baby, I'm okay. She cared, is what I'm saying. She seemed to actually care that I was going through something. And she didn't help. As a matter of fact, she got in the way and she made it harder with her little head popping up for me to clear the bowl. But, still, it was the thought. And it was a wonderful thought. All right, so let's get started here. Here, let me just try. This is not right. How do we... Oh, crap. Hold on. I just unplugged it. Oh, great. No. Now the camera won't go back on. Okay, let's try that. There we go. All right. Sorry, whenever I move it, there's a hinky little cord there that sometimes makes it go black. Byron says she'd still eat me a day after I died. Not a day. I think she would eat me, and I would be fine with that. I'm dead. What do I care? She needs to survive. Apparently nobody has found my body yet, and she needs to survive, so I would be fine with her eating me. But I like to think that she would have enough of a crisis of her dog conscience to at least wait a day or two. Not one day. It's like not, oh, he's dead. I think I'm going to eat his face. I think that'll probably... I would like to think with this dog that'll take 2 or 3 days, but yeah, I am aware that is an option, and I'm totally fine with it. Eat me. Lane Staley gave his life to his cats, or maybe he gave his life to his heroin addiction, but then the cats sustained themselves on Lane Staley by eating him. So, look, hey, so, Hakuna Matata, motherfucker. That is the circle of life right there. You die of a drug overdose, and your cats eat you. All right, let's get into some stuff. Biden, we talked about Biden. That's the number one thing that's trending. He's running for president. We don't do much politics on this show, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time there. And it's going to be hard with this next one because Tucker is trending. Tucker Carlson's been fired from Fox News. It's not over at Fox News. So Fox News, since they settled their $800 bar tab, their $800 bar tab. No, they settled their $800 million lawsuit against Dominion voting systems because they lied about the stolen election, and Dominion was able to prove through their discovery that they knew they were lying. They talked about how they were lying to their Rube audience, but see, their Rube audience doesn't care. The Rube audience, no, I think on some level the Rube audience knew they were being lied to, but it was rich guys in suits telling them why they should be okay with them being lied to that sort of sealed the deal. So the discovery found that, they're all talking shit on Trump. Tucker Carlson calling Trump a moron and saying he's the worst thing for the country. And then, him talking about the Sidney Powells and the Mike Lindells, Tucker, and then having them on his show like that night, like talking about these people are crazy, what they're talking about, and we shouldn't be putting this on the air. And then he books them and treats them like they're normal. So there was a lot of moving parts within the discovery of the Dominion voting system trial that revealed that Tucker Carlson was definitely one of the reasons that they had to settle. So for $800 million, they settled. They did not have to make a public apology, but I'm telling you, based on what we have seen since this has happened, they've fired everybody, and they ain't done firing people. So that has to be part. I'm guessing that that's part of the thing, that Fox News is just going to fire these people. They fired this Dan Bongino guy, the only black guy at the station, right? And the only black guy on Fox, that Don Bongino, whatever he is. I don't know. They fired him first. Then they fired Jeanine Pirro. Then they fired somebody else too. Some other guy, some other Fox contributors fired. And now this week, Monday, they open up with the firing of Tucker Carlson, which is huge because he is the most influential and the most watched television pundit on television. But yeah, Fox News was like, yeah, you know what? You just cost us $800 million. And if you were like Tucker Carlson the way you are now for the next 50 years, you ain't going to make us $800 million. So you got to go. Bye, boy. And they just, boop, he's gone. They're saying there's other people that might also be going next. Look, the Dominion, see, here's the thing. Here's what people don't really seem to understand. They settled the Dominion case for $800 million. Smartmatic is now in the discovery phase. Smartmatic is another one. Smartmatic is suing Fox for twice what Dominion was suing. Dominion was the small one. They settled Dominion probably just to get it out of the way so that they could focus on Smartmatic. The Smartmatic trial is coming. And I'm telling you, they don't want people who, they want to be able to say when the Smartmatic thing starts, they want to be able to say that they've done their due diligence and they've removed the people who are heard in these tapes saying that they're going to go on the air and lie to America about a stolen election. That's big. Look, that's a very reductive, and that is not exactly what they said, but that is essentially what we've learned here. So they want to be able to go into the Smartmatic thing and say, look, we got rid of Tucker Carlson. We got rid of Sean Hannity. I mean, who knows what they're going to do? They're going to, all of those people are banned, like the Mike Lindells and the Sidney Powells, and all these people are banned from Fox. I don't know. Tucker, though. Tucker's in the wind, boy. Ooh, what's Tucker going to do next? He can't go to CNN, and he can't go to MSNBC. Those are two obvious. So does Tucker now go to one of the upstarts and make them a player immediately? Tucker Carlson drops his crazy ass on OAN. OAN is now a legit player. OAN right now is not a legit player. OAN is the news that fucking crazy people watch. That's crazy people watching news. You're a fucking moron and a terrible person if you watch OAN. Okay, that's what it is. If you think that Fox News was bad with the stuff they were saying behind the scenes, you ought to, I'm telling you, OAN is crazy. However, Tucker Carlson goes to OAN and all of a sudden OAN is legit. OAN is legit. Tucker Carlson goes to Newsmax. They're legit. He goes, but does he do that or does he start his own thing? Because Tucker Carlson is powerful, man. He is so powerful. Influential, I should say. They're so influential. Tucker Carlson could go be Joe Rogan. Tucker Carlson could, there are any number of opportunities for Tucker Carlson to expand his brand and own it 100%. I just don't know. Was Tucker Carlson the guy on Fox News that got name checked every day by everybody all the time? Was that Tucker Carlson? Is that a more influential perch than, him being the Joe Rogan of divisive politics? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's a better. I know that, for your own money, you could probably make more with your own platform. I mean, the Alex Joneses and the Glenn Becks of the world and the Joe Rogans, they seem to be doing okay with their own platform. So who knows? Anyway, Tucker Carlson is in the wind. Who are they going to get to replace him at Fox News? I think Chris Cuomo is going to end up at Fox News. I know you think that's crazy. I think he is. I think he is exactly. I think he's exactly the tone that Fox News wants heading into the Smartmatic trial. I think they want somebody. I think they want to be able to show that they're trying to be better. I don't know. Hell, they may settle the Smartmatic trial too. They might just want to be settling all of these and just starting over. By the way, the decision to fire Tucker Carlson occurred on Friday evening. What's her name? Suzanne, is it Susan Carlson? No, Susan Wright. Whoever the president of Fox News is. She had a conversation with Lachlan Murdoch, who is in charge of all things Fox Media, about Tucker Carlson. They decided on Friday evening to fire him. Funnily enough, the exact same night, they decided to fire the next guy trending, Don Lemon, Dandy Don Lemon. CNN also on Friday night got together. Their Chris Licht, who is their new dude in charge of everything, got together with the people at CNN, and they decided to blow out Dandy Don Lemon. Now, for those of you who listen to this show, you know that over the course of the last couple of years, you've learned that I have no respect for Don Lemon whatsoever. No respect. I think that he's a fool. I think that he's a con man. I think that he is a theater kid who doesn't have any acting chops. And so he decided that he would pretend and play the role of a news guy in order to get famous. That has always been my vibe on Don Lemon. And understand, I go back pretty far with Don Lemon. Don Lemon was a local news guy at WMAQ in Chicago. So I remember when Don Lemon was a news guy in Chicago, a street reporter. He always struck me as a little bit looking to make his name. Anyway, Don Lemon, for years and years, was a guy at CNN that they did not seem to hold in very high regard. Don Lemon was the guy that they just slid in whenever somebody else shit the bed. Don Lemon was not supposed to have been given the platform that he used very effectively to his own glorification. Don Lemon was not supposed to be that guy, but somehow he got it. And, the Anderson Cooper, Chris Cuomo, and Don Lemon at 9 o'clock, that became a thing. That became a thing that people talked about. They became quotable. And all of a sudden, Don Lemon slowly, after being at the news station for 14 years, he'd been there 17 years, but this all just started within the last 3 or 4 years. With Trump, really, it was with Trump where Don Lemon really started to become something more than what he had been. And I think the problem with Don Lemon among the people at CNN, and this is very similar to the response from the people at Fox News. The people at Fox News, the people who work in the newsroom, the people who have to, go to the coffee machine and stand next to Tucker Carlson, they are ecstatic. Apparently, Tucker Carlson and his group of producer interns were just assholes. They were so powerful at Fox News. They used to walk around like they owned the place. They were dicks. And the people at Fox News, at least, the grunts, if you will, there is there was a collection on Mediaite of tweets by people who work at Fox News, and their tweets immediately following them learning that Tucker Carlson had been fired. Anyway, same exact thing is being said at CNN. People at CNN are just oh, Don Lemon was such a pain in the ass. Oh, we are so glad that he is gone. We live in an era where the individual telling you the news is a bigger story than the news that they're telling. The Tucker Carlson story is more important. Not the Tucker Carlson getting fired. I'm talking about the whole vibe, the whole energy that comes with Tucker Carlson is more and bigger than pretty much any story he could talk about. They've become personalities that outshine the news. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous. That could never be said for a guy celebrating a birthday today. We're talking about Edward R. Murrow. Edward, the news, he never outshone the news. Edward R. Murrow never spent the last 45 seconds of his newscast doing a hot take for clicks, you know? that was not something that Edward R. Murrow ever did. But both Tucker and Lemon, apparently not really popular guys. The Don Lemon situation is interesting because this is apparently the Don Lemon fate was sealed on Wednesday of last week. Here's a video that he did. Don Lemon was the morning show guy. He was promoted to the morning show. CNN built a whole new morning show around Don Lemon and Caitlin Collins and Poppy Harlow. Poppy Harlow, by the way, is just delightful. And I can't believe that Caitlin Collins sucks. Don't get me wrong. I don't like Caitlin Collins. Caitlin Collins I remember when Caitlin Collins was a Tucker Carlson producer. That's how far back I go with Caitlin Carlson. I know who Caitlin Collins really is. So I don't like Caitlin Collins. But I love Poppy Harlow. And so is Caitlin Collins, Poppy Harlow, and Don Lemon. And Don Lemon was the star. Basically, I'm the guy. I'm in the middle. I'm the star. I'm the gay black man. I am untouchable in 2023. Nope. No, you're not. No. I think we've come full circle on that. I think we have enough gay black men or gay Arab men, or I think we have enough gay men in civilized society, especially in, corporate media and all that. I think we're good. I don't think you're untouchable anymore, Don. As far as gay goes, we got Anderson Cooper right there. As far as black guys go, okay, we don't have a whole lot of black guys, but we can go out and get one. We got a black girl. We got black girls. We can show you black girls. I don't know. Here's the video. This was Don Lemon from the morning show last Wednesday. And apparently, so Don Lemon had been a dick to Poppy Harlow and Caitlin Collins since the morning show started. And I don't know how long ago the morning show started. A year? It's relatively new. So this was last Wednesday. And this was a debate between some dude running for president. Again, he's not going to win. He's just collecting money. He's just got a war chest. So here's Don Lemon interviewing some dude who's running for president, and I don't know what they're getting into. They get into something racial, and it turns into a racial thing, and of course it does, because Don Lemon is, up on his soapbox, and there's a place for that voice, I just don't know that it should be take the form of a Don Lemon. I'd appreciate it if maybe it was a little bit less ooky. He's just very ooky to me, man. He just seems like a dick. Like, he seems like if you met him in real life, he'd be arrogant and he'd be, he'd look down on everything. It just seems like, ugh. Anyway, so here it is. This is from last Wednesday. Now, this was an incident that occurred on the morning show, and this is the incident that Chris Licht and whoever the other person at CNN would be. Chris Licht and the other person discussed on Friday night, and they decided that this would be the last straw and that he would be fired. So he's allowed to finish out the weeks.
I find your explanation reductive and actually insulting, including to black Americans, to say that black people today, compared to 1964, 1865, haven't made progress in part because of the freedoms we secured. And the Second Amendment was part of what secured
hang on,
that
please.
freedom.
I cannot keep a thought if you guys are talking to me in my ear. So hang on one second. So to say that black people...
So right there, he's talking shit to the people in the control room. He's like, I can't argue with this guy if you're talking in my ear.
Say what you said again.
This is all nonsense. Let's just fast forward to where it really goes off the rails.
It's insulting that you're
regarding you as a fellow citizen.
That you're sitting here, whatever ethnicity you are, explaining to me
whatever ethnicity I am,
what it's like to be black in
whatever
America.
ethnicity I am, I'll tell you what I am. I'm an Indian American. I'm proud of it. But I think we should have this debate. Black, white doesn't
explaining to me
whatever ethnicity I am, I'll tell you
what it's like to be black.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you
without me regarding you as a black man,
insulting that
but
you're
me regarding you
here,
as a fellow citizen.
That you're
That's what I
sitting
think
here,
we should see.
whatever ethnicity you are, explaining.
Okay, so this is another problem that they had a real issue with. He is completely marginalizing this man's ethnicity to make a greater point about his ethnicity. He's whatever ethnicity you may be. I mean, it was a bad look and not necessarily enough to get you fired, but enough to go, oh God, that's such a bad. What are we showing? Are we comparing the size of our ethnicity now? Is that what's happening here? I'm a black man and I don't know what you are.
to me
Whatever ethnicity I am,
about
I'll
what
tell
it's
you.
like to be black
Whatever
in America.
ethnicity I am, I'll tell you what I am. I'm an Indian American. I'm proud of it. But I think we should have this debate. Black, white, doesn't matter.
I think we should have this
on
debate.
the content of the
If you're
ideas.
going to do it, you should do it in an honest way and in a fair way. And what you're doing is not an honest and fair way. Okay? We appreciate you coming on.
With due respect, Don, I look forward to continuing that conversation.
Bullshit handshake.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Papa.
We'll talk about China.
Yes, let's talk about China.
Next time you come back.
Oh, thank you. Much to say on declaring independence from China.
Okay,
Something you
can
can
we
add
move on now, please?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Look at that look from Poppy Harlow. She's just like, what the fuck did this prima donna just do? Okay, so I'm going to show you this again. This is at the end of the interview. Don Lemon wants him to go. Don Lemon is an emperor, and be gone, make this man be gone. Poppy Harlow is trying to be a professional. And she's trying to wrap this up and throw it to a break because Dandy Don has once again made shit weird. It's now weird on the set. However, look at this guy. This is why this guy's full of shit. Look at this guy smiling. That's a fucking phony right there. He's not smiling. I'm putting on a smile because everything about me is a con. I'm really angry, but I'm gonna just con my way into a idiot. Who is this guy? Vivek Ramaswamy? He's running for president? Don't donate any money to him. He ain't gonna be president, and he's gonna keep your money. And he's gonna make a car payment. He's gonna lease a car to the political action committee that he forms, and the political action committee is going to pay for the car, but he's going to be driving around in the Bentley, just so you know. That's how it works. Watch that one more time.
We appreciate you coming on.
With due respect, Don, I look forward to continuing that conversation.
We'll
Thank
continue
you.
the conversation.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you, Papa.
We'll talk about China.
See, she's like, we'll talk about China. We'll have you back. We'll do this again. This will be fine. And look at Don. Don's like, no, fuck him. Get him out of here.
Yes, let's talk about
Next
China.
time you come back.
Oh, thank you. Much to say on declaring independence from China.
Okay,
Something you
can
can
we
add
move on now, please?
Okay, we can move on now, please. Okay, we can move on now, please. And it's Poppy's reaction. Poppy is delightful. Her name is Poppy. You don't treat Poppy like this. Watch her reaction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She looks at him. She's like, what a dick. Now she's looking at the director. Okay. She's like, okay. All right. So that is apparently the exchange that really irritated Chris Lichten, led to Friday's conversation that ended up in the firing of Don Lemon. At least that is what is being reported through multiple sources, New York Times, as well as Mediaite and a couple of others. Let's see here. What else do we have? Hold on. Boop. There we go. I appreciate you hanging with me here, folks, because I am scattered. I am all over the place. Frank Smith, don't worry, Pugs. I'm not supporting Vivek. Orange Man or DeSantis for me. See, that doesn't fucking make me think highly of you, Frank. Like, come on. You obviously cannot tell a con man. DeSantis is interesting, but obviously there are a couple of con men there, and all right. I don't know. I do not know that DeSantis is a con. I have an open mind on DeSantis. I mean, open in so much as I'm never gonna forget the way I felt about him a while ago. I mean, he seems like a troublemaker. I mean, but whatever. Open minds. But not the Orange Man. What the fuck? Why you just want to waste your vote again? Ugh, God. Anyway. Hey, you know what? I shouldn't tell anybody how to vote because I don't care how you vote. I really don't. I care about you, the person. I care about how you treat me and how you treat others. That's what I care about. Hell, if I was mad at Trump voters, I'd seriously have no friends. Well, no, I would have a lot of friends, but it's hard, man. It's hard. We are not a political show, but I think you guys know I think Trump is a con man. I've known that since the 1980s, but whatever. I don't know what I was looking at that nobody else saw, but I gotta get up for a second again, folks. I apologize. I'm battling. I'm sick as dog. All right, here we go. I appreciate the patience today. We'll get through all this stuff. I really, you want to hear the truth of it? I was not going to be doing a show today. As of last night, I was feeling like such garbage. I just wanted to like sleep in, take a whole bunch of sleeping pills, just because that's how I like to handle my allergies. I like to try and sleep through them as much as possible. But last night at like 8 o'clock, my mom calls me. or no, it was like 9:30 because I guess she had tuned into the 9 o'clock stream and saw that we weren't there. She's like, "Are you okay?" And because it's your mom, you got to be like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry." And she's 1,000 miles away. I don't want to worry. I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm fine." I'm like, "It's all going to be fine. I'll be on the show tomorrow." So that's why I'm doing the show. So you have my mom to thank. There you go. While you're forced to sit through this. God, I look awful. I haven't shaved in 4 days. I'm a mess. Harry Belafonte has died. That's another big thing that's trending. Dale. I don't know anything about Harry Belafonte. I mean, I know that he's a civil rights activist. I know that he was a singer. I know that he's a political activist. I know that he's done a lot of things in the world. So I'm going to read you a little bit about him. I remember his daughter. Do you remember Sherry Belafonte? She was really hot back in the 80s. What was she on? Dynasty or something like that? Sherry Belafonte. I don't know. She was pretty. But, Harry Belafonte. Harry Belafonte, the singer whose dynamic a cappella shout of "Dow" from the Banana Boat song and other music from world folk traditions propelled him to international stardom, and who used his entertainment fortune to help bankroll the civil rights movement at home and human rights causes worldwide. He died on April the 25th at his home in Manhattan. He was 96 years old. He was like, there's a whole shit ton of pictures of Martin Luther King, like strategizing and stuff in a room full of people. Harry Belafonte's there in every one of them. Harry Belafonte's sitting right there so he was a very active guy in the civil rights movement, accomplished a whole lot in his life. I just don't know that much about Harry Belafonte. I mean, other than what I've just given you. It's not like he was cranking out movies in the 80s and that, you know what I mean? I don't, but I know he's a dude, and I know that he passed away, and so there you go, keep a good thought. Also occurring in New York as Harry Belafonte is passing on to the next plane. I need water. Look, I've got water, I've got backup water, I need to keep hydrating. These antihistamine, I don't even know what they are. I don't even know what they say on the bottle. They dry me out, so I've got really bad cotton mouth. It's hard to talk. $1:31. It's 1:30. I've already done 90 minutes of this. We are good. We are good. I'm going to make it. I'm going to get at least 2 hours in here. All right. Aaron Rodgers is now in New York. That's what I was trying to say. As Harry Belafonte was shuffling off this plane of existence, another plane from Green Bay, Wisconsin was landing in New York. Aaron Rodgers has become the new quarterback of the New York Jets. Yeah. Okay. Look. My team plays in the NFC North. Aaron Rodgers is a very difficult quarterback to beat. I'll just put it to you that way. Nobody has broken my heart more often, more consistently, and without any doubt than Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I can direct you to any number of Bears-Packers games over the last 10 seasons where third quarter the Bears are up by 20 points, and here comes Aaron Rodgers in the fourth quarter. I'll put it to you this way. A couple of seasons ago, last season, Aaron Rodgers scored a game-winning touchdown in the fourth quarter at Soldier Field against my Bears, and he ran up to the camera, and he looked directly into the camera, and he said, "Chicago, I own you." And let me tell you something about Aaron Rodgers. I don't know about everybody else, but I sat there and I watched it in that moment, and I said, yeah, you do. You sure do. There is no denying that. So on that level, Thank God that Aaron Rodgers is out of the NFC North. Now he's with the Jets, though, and the Jets have a team loaded with talent. But they used to say that about the Packers all the time. Packers are loaded with talent. So I don't know. Here's what I do know about Aaron Rodgers. I know that my favorite quarterback of all time, if I was starting a team and you could pick any quarterback, who are you going to build your team around? My quarterback would still be, to this day, Joe Montana. That's my quarterback. That's my guy that I want in charge of my offense. However, if it was just one game and we had to win the one game, it would be Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers would be, no matter how much I hate the Green Bay Packers, no matter how much I hate Aaron Rodgers is better than Brett Favre. I watched both of their careers. Aaron Rodgers is better than Brett Favre. Brett Favre was dangerous, whereas Aaron Rodgers is effective. I mean, it's just. I think Brett Favre was lucky too. I think a lot of Brett Favre's, legend of Brett Favre is just pure luck. He just got lucky. Whereas Aaron Rodgers is just a technician. He's just an assassin. So will he do well in New York? I don't know. I think the New York media is going to absolutely destroy Aaron Rodgers. You have to understand, Aaron Rodgers has spent his entire life, professional football life, in the incubator of Green Bay. If you don't know what this is, Green Bay is a town the size of Waco. It's probably half the size of Waco. And they have a professional football team, and they've got a whole bunch of super millionaires living there. Well, actually, they don't live there, but they rent apartments during the season. They all live in, wherever. They sure as shit ain't living in Green Bay. Some do, like your Mark Chimuras or your offensive linemen. They enjoy a cabin in the woods. But you know what I'm saying? Most of the guys, the wide receivers are not living in, the cornerbacks of the Green Bay Packers are not living in Green Bay. But when you work there and you are in the Packers system, it is the most unique media market for NFL football in the league. Because I laugh at the Dallas media market because when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, this is a pussy market. These guys are so afraid. Everybody, even on radio stations that don't handle the Cowboys, these people seem to be afraid of Jerry Jones. These people seem like... I never hear the really hard. The national media asks the difficult questions, your Ed Werderers and stuff like that. But locally, and still, the way the Cowboys are treated locally by the local sports talkers and all that kind of stuff, they're like the Spanish Inquisitors compared to Green Bay. Green Bay's media are a bunch of 65-year-old guys who have worked in Green Bay media their entire life. I remember shaking Vince Lombardi's hand, guys like that. College kids who are fresh out of media school, and this is the first market that they're working in. And basically part-time dairy farmers. That is who Aaron Rodgers has had to stare down in the locker room. Day in and day out. Now, I'm not talking about after games, because after games you get the national media. But, on a Tuesday after practice, Aaron Rodgers isn't getting tough questions from old Gord. Hey, Aaron, how are you there? Yeah, hey, Gord, you got a question for me? Yeah, Aaron, I was just wondering, you look so good out there. How are the Packers going to lose a game this season? That's the kind of stuff that Aaron Rodgers was used to. Welcome to New York, man. They are gonna, your girlfriend is gonna be on page 6 with her weird, his girlfriend's like a witch. She considers herself like a witch. It's just so weird, man. They are gonna mess with Aaron Rodgers. And I'm interested to see how Aaron Rodgers handles it. Anyway, Aaron Rodgers is now a New York Jet. Good for him. Frank says the Cowboys and Mavs have their butts kissed by media. The Dallas Stars and Texas Rangers don't get the easy questions. I would say that that's probably true. I agree with you. However, I would amend that. I would say the Dallas Stars and the Texas Rangers really get no questions. There is so little baseball coverage in this town. I mean, I don't even want to talk about the Stars. You never hear Stars talk. That's not true. That's not true. Bob Sturm and the Ticket do a good amount of Stars talk, and recently there's been a good deal of Stars talk. Rangers talk not so much. This has never been, in the 20 years that I've been here, this has never been a baseball city. Even when the Rangers went to the World Series 2 years in a row, this was not a baseball city. It's like, Bam Margera is trending. He's one of these jackass guys. I don't know jackass. So when Jackass became a thing, became a national phenomenon, I was like 27, 28. I felt like I was kind of like a grown-up. And I looked at Jackass, what they were doing on MTV, and I was just like, oh, God, that's stupid. So I never watched any of the Jackass stuff. Of course, I'm a student of pop culture, so I'm aware of Jackass and all that stuff. But I don't really know who... I don't know the difference between a Steve-O and a Bam Margera. I don't know. But this Bam Margera guy, apparently, he went a little bit nuts on his family there in Pennsylvania. He's a colorful individual, Bam Margera. Did a little reading about him because I wanted to be able to have a hot take on him. He seems like a real train wreck. Drug addict, alcoholic, just a crazy person. He's in his 40s. So here's what happened. In and out of rehab, bunch of ex-wives, bunch of kids, I think. I don't know. He's got a crazy lifestyle. Apparently on Sunday afternoon, he got into a big fight with his whole family. Sounds to me like there was an intervention going down. And he punched his brother in the face, and then he shoved some other family members. Here. Apparently he... Well, look, we talked about this earlier. Apparently he peed in the kitchen sink. Apparently Bam Margera is a sink pisser. And he absolutely is. I absolutely look at Bam Margera and I go, that is a sink pisser. That is a guy who pisses in the sink with dishes. He is a dishes sink pisser. More details have emerged surrounding the incident involving Jackass star Bam Margera, which resulted in a warrant for his arrest and multiple criminal charges. According to an affidavit obtained by Entertainment Weekly, Margera threatened several of his family members and allegedly punched his brother in the face. In the criminal complaint, Bam's brother, Jesse Margera, told police that the television personality had banged on and kicked his locked bedroom door, written a threatening note, urinated in the kitchen sink, screamed at him, and struck him in the head. Jesse also claimed that Bam had threatened to kill everyone in the house, including their father and two other people. They called the police. The police showed up, but he ran out the back door. He ain't been seen since. So there you go. There you have it. There's an all-points bolo out for Bam Margera. He's going to die. Can we just take a 30,000-foot view of what's going on with Bam Margera here? He's going to die. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. But, we're all going to die eventually. He doesn't have 5 years left. Bam Margera is 42, I think, something like that. He doesn't have 5 years left. He enjoyed, this idiot, he was a skateboarder, stoner, moron, who wasn't really supposed to accomplish anything. He's supposed to be working, maybe at best on a garbage truck, collecting union wage. I don't know, maybe at best. But he became Bam Margera. He became somebody who I knew. And I didn't even watch the show, but I knew he was famous. He's dating famous women and, traveling the world and all that stuff. And now he's 43. And he doesn't want to get kicked in the nuts anymore, I'm guessing. And he's got no other career path. It's like, what do you do? Yeah, he's not going to... He's an addict. He drinks. He's apparently just a complete train wreck of an individual. Who was the other guy? There was another guy that died. There was like one of his buddies from Jackass who died driving his Porsche 140 miles an hour on some wooded Pennsylvania road. Are all the Jackass guys from Pennsylvania? Is that where they're from? I don't know. There's a lot of nonsense in Pennsylvania. All right, so that's Bam Margera. Oh, here you go. Okay, so here's the story that I mentioned earlier. This is an allergy season so bad you don't need allergies to feel absolutely miserable. That's right. This year's allergy season is especially bad, making life miserable for annual sufferers as well as people who thought seasonal allergies didn't affect them. Saying it is the worst allergy. It is the highest and earliest levels of pollen released into the atmosphere in 100 years. Since they started tracking pollen outputs for seasonal allergies or hay fever or whatever it is you want to call it over the years, this is the worst that it's ever been. And it's not even close. And they're saying that it's because it was a fairly mild winter and that makes things worse. I can tell you it's really bad. So there you have it. Danny Masterson, remember him? Hyde from That 70s Show. He's back in court. He was in court a couple of months ago for rape. and rape. They said that he drugged girls. He's a big old Scientologist. He said he lured these girls from Scientology to his house, and then he basically drugged them and raped them. The first trial was a hung jury, so they're going back now, and they're in the second trial. And in this trial, the difference is that the prosecution is going to be able to mention the idea of him drugging. He wasn't allowed... they weren't allowed to bring that evidence into court in the first trial about him slipping Mickeys or whatever it was. He was Cosbying these girls. But they are going to be able to do it this time, and they think that might be the difference maker. Again, hung jury the first time, and now Danny Masterson. Hyde from that 70s show is... Sorry, I'm not feeling well. From that 70s show, he's going to trial again. How about this one? Down syndrome Barbie. That's right, Barbie. Mattel is putting out a Down syndrome Barbie doll for little girls who, maybe have Down syndrome and want to see some. This is getting some blowback, and it's getting some blowback from the absolute worst fucking people on the planet. Why do you care? Why would you care that Mattel is trying to do something? This isn't woke. Somebody said, just more woke culprit. How does having Down syndrome or a child with Down syndrome make you woke? How does one, first of all, have you ever spent any time around someone with Down syndrome? Have you? I mean, I know it's a difficult thing. Maybe you have. The people who have know exactly what I'm about to say. These are the most wonderful human beings on the planet. There is no bullshit in a Down syndrome person. You know what there is? There's love, and there's thoughtfulness, and there's kindness, and there's hugs. There's all of that stuff. People, I have a friend who has 2 children with Down syndrome. And, God, it's just, I was reading this story about the Down syndrome Barbie and about how people are actually pissed. Like, why would you be pissed? Why would you even care? This is something for people who are going through something or stricken with something. I don't even know what the proper way to frame it is. But why on earth would you go, what the fuck they being nice to retards for? You're a piece of shit. Like, if that's your take, you're a piece of shit. There is absolutely no reason that Mattel shouldn't make a special edition Down syndrome Barbie. It's just kindness. It's just sweetness. There's nothing. But people, again, see, we like to get outraged. But how you calling this shit woke? How you calling? I didn't know that only lefty woke liberals had children with trisomy 7. I didn't realize that. But how about a moon landing story, huh? Japan's going to land something on the moon today, maybe. Did it already happen? Hold on, let me see. Did Japan put a thing on the moon, or did it crash? Because we ain't really put stuff on the moon. Ain't nobody put stuff on the moon in years. They tried a couple of years ago, put a lander on the moon, and it crashed. Hold on. Japanese moon landing. Let me see. Japan's iSpace attempts world's first commercial lunar landing. Did it land? 16 minutes ago. Oh, well. All right, so here's the latest. So Japan and SpaceX, they had a rocket, and Japan wanted to put a probe up there on the moon. And somebody tried it. Somebody tried it a couple of years ago, and the damn thing crashed into the moon and, didn't work. So here we go. Here's an update 15 minutes ago. Commercial lunar lander presumed lost after historic moon landing attempt. That's too bad. Almost 54 years ago, we did this with people, and we can't even shoot a probe up there. We can get to Mars. We can do this with Mars. Why can't we do it with the moon? Michael Jordan's house is trending. Michael Jordan's house in just outside Chicago. Where is this? I don't know, Winnetka or something like that. $15 million Michael Jordan mansion that he just basically abandoned. Well, actually, the truth is, he didn't abandon it. Juanita did. When Michael and Juanita Jordan got divorced, this was the house that the Jordan family was raised in, the kids, and they all went to school, for all the years that Jordan was playing in Chicago. This is the Jordan house, and it's where the family was. And when Jordan and Juanita got divorced, Juanita took over the house, and now apparently the house has been empty forever. And guess what the Jordan house has become? It's become the place where teenagers teenagers party. That's right. Hey, man, you want to go break into Jordan's house and party there? Because that's basically what's been happening now. This is the third time in the last 3 months. 18-year-old suspect charged. While Michael Jordan no longer occupies the home, neighbors called in signs of a break-in at the Highland Park Police Department was sent to investigate. So it's Highland Park, Illinois. By the way, Highland Park, anywhere there's a Highland Park, there's rich houses. That's just been my experience. Because Highland Park, Illinois is every bit as rich as Highland Park. Well, Michael Jordan lives there. It's every bit as rich as Highland Park, Texas. Although maybe not, but similarly. You know what I mean? You'd have to look at it. Let's see here. Raiden K. Hagedorn, 18 of Mundelein, was arrested on the site when police arrived, along with another minor who had not been identified. Both were taken to the local police department. All right. So they're breaking into Jordan's house. Let's see, what else do we have here? Stephen Bonner. All right, I wanted to mention this one. Stephen Bonner, the fighter, the UFC fighter who died a couple of months ago. He was one of my favorite fighters. I liked him. He seemed like a good guy. He had fought much too long. He had been taking too many pay fights where it was just, hey, get punched in the face for 30 grand. Like he was taking too many of those. And so, and I say by the end of his life, and, the man was probably 10 years younger than me, but by the end of his life, he was punchy, and he had all kinds of surgeries, and he was a drug addict. He was another victim of the opioid epidemic. Stephen Bonner, professional fighter. I mean, this wasn't a junkie. This isn't a guy that's like, hey, man, I'm going to get my money, and then we're going to go party. No, this was a guy who, had basically 100 surgeries, and, he became dependent upon painkillers because of the choices that he made. He made a choice to be a professional fighter, and this is the downside of it. So Stephen Bonner, it's now been revealed that he has died from fentanyl poisoning. Stephen Bonner, for the past couple of months before he died, he had been curiosity, a concern on Instagram and some of those things because he had taken to making videos talking about his struggle and openly doctor shopping on like Instagram. Hey, if you're a doctor and you can write me a prescription, stuff like that. He was addicted. The Oxycontin. The Sacklers. The Sacklers got him hooked on their Oxycontin, which, remember, wasn't addictive. That's what the Sackler family said. Oxycontin, not addictive. This is a revolutionary new painkiller. You can have all the pain in the world, and you can take this. You can take this every day for the rest of your life. You can manage your pain because it's not addictive. That's what they said. And they made billions. And it was addictive. Here's the problem. They knew it was addictive, but they wanted to make billions. So they lied, and they rolled the dice, and they got caught. And they probably made $100 billion, and they probably had to pay back $20 billion. So by my math, that's like an $80 billion clearance. They're $80 billion to the good, all for killing countless numbers of young people who were just struggling with pain management. Well, Stephen Bonner died of fentanyl. It was fentanyl that he ingested in some street opioids that he had taken to battle his pain issues, his chronic pain issues. All right, guys, that's going to be it. I love y'all. But I got to end this because I'm going to go into the next room and I'm going to climb under the covers and I'm probably going to sleep until I do not sleep anymore. I don't even know what that means. I'm not even making any sense. Hold on. I think we're going to be back. I think we're going to be back tonight. We'll come back. We'll do a Pugs and Parker with E at 9 o'clock. Even if it's not, even if I don't do the show, there's no reason that they can't do the show. But I would not be able to contain myself. If I was in the next room knowing that they were doing a show, I would have to jump in. So I would expect us to do a show tonight, and I would expect me to be 100% better tomorrow because these allergies do not last forever, and when they go, they go. And I appreciate you hanging with me today and putting up with all of my nonsense. Shut up, Jeff. I can't, I can't get in. I don't have the energy to get into a stupid Jeff Ballard moon landing was faked argument. I can't. Adam Reyna says he saw Japanese moon landing at Coachella. That's a solid joke. I love those kinds of jokes. That's good. Tip the show if you can, that'd be appreciated. Venmo, Cash App, all that stuff. Jesus, I gotta go to CVS. You know what I have? You know what I think I just want to eat a bag of oranges. You know what I mean? I feel like I just maybe chug a whole thing of orange juice. I don't know. I feel like I have a vitamin C deficiency. Oh well, we'll cross all of those bridges once I turn yellow. What happens with a vitamin C deficiency? I don't know. All right, guys, I am scattered. I don't even know what I'm saying. I love you. Bye.
Smile.